The story is about a young man named Xenos, a healer who lives in the kingdom of Hertzeth, known since ancient times as the town of healers. However, he did not receive his education at the royal hospital and does not have a license to practice his profession. Xenos works secretly to treat people for small fees to make a living. He lives with a girl named Lily, who appears to be from a wealthy family and aspires to be Xenos' future wife.
Yeah, boy.
Despite his pitiful appearance and low social status. While Xenos was on a house call, Lily was preparing dinner when she found a girl named Zofia who had come to see Xenos. She told her that he was on a house call to one of his patients and that she would have to wait for him to return. After a while, another girl named Linga came, and Lily told her that he was not there. When she entered the waiting room, she was surprised to see Zofia, who told her to go home while she waited for him there, but she insisted on staying. After a while, Loie arrived home and Lily told her that he wasn't there, and that she should join the others after fixing the door she had broken when she entered. Lily continued cooking and told them that they would have dinner when Xenos arrived. Then she remembered that she had to take the laundry off the line, so she asked them to keep an eye on the pot boiling on the stove. After she left, Loie and Linga ended up going over to the pot to taste the food, and Loie was surprised by how delicious it was, so they couldn't stop eating. Meanwhile, Lily was gathering the clothes outside when she suddenly felt like taking a break. She lay down and looked up at the sky, hoping that Xenos would return quickly. Then she took a nap while she was thinking. On the other hand, the girls felt they were in trouble after eating the food in the pot, and each of them began to blame the others. Then they decided to prepare alternative food to fill the pot, and when they started, they were surprised by Lily's return at an opportune moment.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
They sat in front of her in confusion and pretended to be foolish, which angered Lily despite her silly smile. She asked one of them to tell her what had happened while she was outside. They were forced to tell her the truth and claimed that they couldn't control their greed.
Cap.
The three of them ended up arguing in front of her, so she told them that Xenos would be angry if they fought, and that she had hoped they would all eat together. The girls apologized to her and decided to help her prepare another dinner, but she told them she didn't have enough ingredients. Suddenly, a woman named Carmilla appeared, looking like an evil witch. Linga was terrified when she saw her, and the three of them rushed to apologize to her before she devoured their souls for eating the food. Then Lily asked them to bring more ingredients, so the three of them rushed outside immediately. After they left, Carmilla wondered why she didn't feel angry about it, so she told her that she wasn't angry about the food, but that she loved the moment when everyone was gathered around the table together. Then she wondered if she would be able to finish preparing dinner before Xenos returned. In the evening, Xenos was on his way home when he came across a girl in pain as she walked along the road. Then an arrogant man appeared and began to abuse her for leaving her work to go to the hospital. It turned out that she worked as his slave, and he dragged her away in front of Xenos, who did not intervene because he was just a scumbag. After that, the man took his slave to the cemetery, threw her to the ground, and began beating her, accusing her of laziness and ordering her to search for something valuable in the cemetery. Then he decided to leave her and return home alone, but suddenly he saw her shadow standing behind him, and as soon as he turned around, he was attacked after she tore his body with her claws. The arrogant man tried to run away, and then Xenos arrived at the graveyard. He went to him to ask for help and told him that his slave had lost her mind and started attacking him for no reason. Xenos asked what they were doing in such a place, and the man became flustered and told him that they were doing their usual work in agriculture. He then told him that he was willing to pay him a lot of money if he could save him. While he was talking, the slave jumped towards him, so Xenos pulled him away so that she would not hit him. He then tried to ask her why she was so angry, but she threw several stones at him, which he easily dodged. The gentleman felt that he had enough skill to get rid of her, but when he asked Xenos to do so, Xenos refused and told him that bloodshed was not his job, and that he was trying to save people's lives as much as possible as a healer. Then the slave threw a large rock at him, and he used his power to destroy it before it reached him. The arrogant master was surprised by his strength, as healers are not normally skilled in combat. Xenos noticed that the slave girl was faster than normal and continued to dodge and counter her attacks, until he was forced to push her away. In the end, her arrogant master fell to the ground after a high wall fell directly on top of him. After that, Xenos went to the slave girl to help her up after she had suffered serious damage. When he reached out to her, she bit his hand, so he used his other hand to heal her after realizing that a spirit had possessed her because of her presence in the tombs. She quickly lost consciousness after he used his healing magic. Meanwhile, her master was shocked when he saw Xenos' ability to heal injuries in a short time, and when he asked him to save him,
Oh, hell no!
Xenos looked at him with contempt and told him that his working hours were over, and that he might have to pay him more if he insisted on receiving treatment now instead of waiting until tomorrow. The man gave him the money immediately, but Xenos told him that it was not enough, even though he had given him more than the cost of any other healer, and told him that he was an unlicensed healer working in secret, a job similar to his job as a grave robber, as both jobs were illegal. Then Xenos decided to take his slave to cover the difference in price, and the man did not mind. As soon as he treated him, Xenos obtained a document of ownership, and the man left quietly while Xenos sat waiting for the slave to regain consciousness. After a while, the slave girl woke up and was surprised to see Xenos next to her. He told her that he was her new master after buying her from her previous owner. When he asked her name, she told him that her name was Till. She was shocked when he asked her to take off her clothes and told her that he wanted to check her injury.
I know what kind of man you are.
When Till took off her clothes, Xenos found that she had a gallstone causing her abdominal pain, in addition to yellowing of her skin. He decided to treat her and succeeded in removing the stone from her body without difficulty, while Till was surprised that he did so without using magic. He told her that any healer could do that. She expressed her gratitude to him for saving her, but he told her that thanks were not enough for him and that he wanted her to give him something of equal value.
What do you mean by that?
He then showed her a picture of an object and asked her to find it for him. Till began searching immediately, and it turned out that he was looking for a specific type of herb after they found it. Till wondered if that was all he really wanted, and he told her that she had done her job and was no longer indebted to him, as he would not have been able to find these herbs on his own. He then tore up her contract to set her free and told her she could go wherever she wanted. Till couldn't believe she was free, and found that she had nowhere to go, so she decided to spend her life discovering the place and told him she would come back to tell him. After that, Xenos returned home and Lily greeted him to tell him that dinner was not over yet, but he was surprised to see that the rest were still at his house late at night and had brought many ingredients. Then he went into his room, and Carmilla realized from his facial expressions that something exciting had happened to him outside, and that she sensed the presence of a new girl who would enter his life.
Yeah, boy.
Xenos remembered when the leader of his former team, Aston, fired him for being a useless healer and using suspicious magic to treat the wounded, which could tarnish the team's reputation in front of nobles and kings. He gave him a gold coin as a reward, which someone as lowly as him would not aspire to obtain. Xenos was shocked at the time because he thought they were all like family and friends, and that the team had become stronger thanks to his efforts. But Aston mocked him and told him not to take credit for himself, calling him a fool for thinking they were friends because he had agreed to join the team. He told him that he didn't mind using poor people pawns and get rid of them after he got what he wanted. Before he left, Aston ordered him to keep his mouth shut and not tell anyone that he had been a member of the team. Xenos left quietly after realizing that he had given him the gold coin to silence him. On his way, he came across Lily, who was being attacked by one of the thieves. Lily tried to escape, but one of them shot her in the leg with an arrow. When she struggled to resist and not let them get her, the thief stabbed her to stop her from moving, and his boss reprimanded him. Xenos noticed the commotion nearby and went to take a look. He was shocked to find that the thieves had stabbed a child. They told him not to interfere because she was their property, so Xenos decided to buy her in exchange for the gold coin. The thieves agreed to the deal and left quietly, thinking that she would eventually die. Xenos approached Lily and easily treated her wound. She was surprised that she was still alive and no longer felt any pain. Xenos told her that he had done his job as a healer, and Lily began to cry and expressed her gratitude to him. Then she felt guilty that he had gone to the trouble of paying money for her, so he told her that he didn't mind, while thinking to himself that he had no intention of keeping Aston's compensation anyway. Lily wanted to know more about him, so he told her his name and that he was an unlicensed healer who worked in secret and had taught himself all his healing skills. When he asked her where she lived, she told him she didn't have a home, so he decided to take her with him to buy clothes and eat. After that, Lily sat down and enjoyed her meal while Xenos thought about how to manage the situation, since he was broke and couldn't afford dinner. Then he started thinking about where to take Lily and decided that the orphanage wasn't the best option. When Lily asked him about his job, he told her that he had just been kicked out of the team of adventurers he was a member of, but now he was homeless and had to look for a new job. While they were talking, someone came in with a serious injury, and Xenos noticed from the nature of the injury that he had been shot by a magic gun. He used his skills to heal the injury in the blink of an eye, to the amazement of the injured man, who had never heard of such a skilled healer before. He then gave him some money in exchange for his treatment and left after thanking him for saving him at the right time. At that moment, Xenos realized that he was entitled to receive payment for his services to the injured, and decided to open his own clinic. He felt grateful to Lily for inspiring him with the idea when she thanked him for saving her and told him that no one had ever thanked him before. Then he thought that the problem was that he would not be able to obtain a license because he belonged to the poor neighborhoods and was forced to work in secret so that the authorities would not discover him. Lily was enthusiastic about the idea and told him that she wanted to help him run the clinic. He felt confused that he would have to exploit a young girl in illegal work, but she told him that he was her master since he had bought her, and that it was her duty to follow him wherever he went. So he told her that he would take her with him until he found a safe place for her to live. Xenos then decided to set up his clinic in a deserted area far from prying eyes. While searching, he found an old mansion that seemed to be in good condition compared to the other buildings, so he thought he would check it out. Lily clung to him and told him she was afraid they would find monsters inside. But Xenos didn't care and decided to enter the mansion. She followed him and used her ability to create a ball of light to help them see. When Xenos inspected the mansion thoroughly, he found that it was fine. While they were wandering around the house, they were surprised by the appearance of the ghost Carmilla, who appeared out of nowhere in front of them.
Oh, hell no!
Xenos realized that the place was indeed haunted, but he did not back down from the idea of staying there, as it was the best in the area. When Carmilla began to steal their souls, he used his skill to cure her. Lily was surprised that he was able to defeat her, so he told her that he had defeated hundreds like her in the past, when Aston deliberately sent him to abandoned mazes. He then told Carmilla to allow them to stay in the mansion and promised her that they would not cause her any trouble. She felt angry and continued to attack him again, but to no avail. She summoned her followers to destroy them, and Xenos realized that he had to use force. Carmilla was shocked when he exterminated her followers after using a higher level of healing magic. When she asked about his identity, he told her that he was just a healer working in secret, and that he needed a treatment room and a bedroom. She allowed them to use the first floor and told them that the second floor was hers alone. The next day, Lily was bored while Xenos cleaned and tidied up the place to make it look like a proper clinic. She suggested that they start advertising their clinic, but Xenos thought that this might expose them to the royal hospital. At the same time, Lily thought that he would not get any customers as long as he did not advertise the opening of the clinic. But soon the clinic's first customer walked in, and Lily recognized him as the person they had met at the restaurant. Xenos told him that he had been expecting him, since people with magic bullet burns were not the kind of people who would go to the royal hospital. The man told him his name was Zond and asked him to take a look at his sister Zofia, who had been shot in the arm. As soon as he looked at her, Xenos saw that she had been hit by a magic bullet containing a special poison that had caused her arm tissue to decay. Zofia was amazed that he was able to examine her with just his eyes, so he told her that he had been used as a guinea pig in the past to produce this type of bullet. Zofia felt sad when he told her that he had to amputate her arm before the poison spread throughout her body. They were shocked when Xenos told them that the operation would cost 1,000,000 yen. Zofia was impressed by his audacity in asking for such a large sum from a prominent figure like her. It was then that Xenos realized that she was one of the 3 slum leaders who robbed corrupt merchants and gave the money to the poor. She then asked him to give her a convincing reason for charging such a large sum for simply amputating an arm. He told her that he would not only amputate the arm, but that he would also have to create a new one, which was exhausting work for him. He then stood in front of her and told her that he had decided not to work for free anymore, and that he would not care about his client's social status. Zofia was amazed at the idea that he could grow a new arm, as no other healer could do that. But over time, Xenos succeeded in growing a new arm for her, and he quickly felt exhausted from consuming a large amount of magic, much to Zofia's amazement. Then Zond was surprised to see Carmilla appear from above the wall, so he told them that she was his roommate, and that although she seemed bloodthirsty, she was kind. This impressed Zofia, who decided to send her followers to him for treatment and did not mind giving him the money he asked for. As the days passed, Lily was happy that the clinic had become well known and that many customers were visiting them thanks to Zofia. She then wondered why the lizards were repeatedly injured, and he replied that there were 3 types of humanoids in constant conflict, and that there was always a dispute between them. While they were talking, a group of werewolves accompanied by their leader Linga stormed into the clinic. Linga expressed her annoyance at the lizards constantly causing her trouble, because he was the one treating them. After realizing that he was a skilled healer, she decided to get rid of him so that the lizards would have no one to treat them. He told her that he was just a healer who worked in secret and did not have a certificate or license, but she did not listen to him. As soon as she took her axe and rushed towards him, she was shocked when he used a protective barrier to stop her. He then asked Lily to hide in the bedroom. She ordered her followers to attack him, but none of them could harm him, which angered her even more, and she ordered them to destroy the palace. As soon as they began destroying the furniture, Carmilla appeared out of nowhere and was about to wipe them all out, but Xenos stopped her and told her that they had destroyed his part of the palace, the first floor, and despite that, he did not want to destroy them. She decided to return to her floor quietly when she realized he was right. While Linga was shocked by the idea that he was coexisting with a ghost in harmony, she had no choice but to apologize to him and beg him to spare her life. She told him that werewolves naturally fear beings higher than themselves, such as ghosts and vampires, and what terrified her was that he controlled one of them. He told her that he did not control Carmilla, but she did not listen to him and ordered her followers to bow before him. A month later, one of Loe's followers came to him and told him that she wanted to talk to him. Xenos ended up meeting with the leaders of the 3 slums and they became his clients after his reputation spread among them because of his skill. Xenos was curious to ask the follower if his leader was the type who could talk to him, so he told him that she had both wisdom and charisma. When Xenos thought that she had not come to visit him herself, he told him that he would not bring the leader to a place frequented by lizards and werewolves, and that she was suffering from severe pain that made her unable to move. Xenos decided to accompany him to her home to examine her himself. When he arrived at Loe's home, he found her sitting on her throne waiting for him. She told him that she had searched for him herself after hearing a lot about him from other races. He felt angry that news about him was spreading among the poor neighborhoods. She then asked him if he could find out why she was unable to move from her place, and he realized that she intended to test him. He approached her and used his power to examine her body from the inside after finding no external injuries. Loe was surprised by his ability to do so, unlike the other healers. Then Xenos found a lump in the middle of her stomach. She told him it was a magic stone equipped with mana and an explosion spell, and that she had eaten it thinking it was a rice ball. Stupid! He felt angry that she had summoned him for such a trivial matter and told her that she didn't need his help and would get rid of it over time. Before he left, she told him that she had chewed part of it, which made it explosive, and that she wanted to get rid of it before she died at any moment. She was afraid to move, so she asked him what she could expect him to do for her. She then told him that she wanted to donate her entire fortune to him. She added that if she died, it would be the end of life for her species, the orcs in the slums, so she preferred to give her wealth to someone who knew how to use it. She then gave him a valuable key, and he decided to help her. He used his magic scalpel to open her stomach and remove the stone. Loe was stunned that he had succeeded in removing it so easily, and when Xenos looked at it, it exploded. But he was unharmed, which impressed everyone. Then he returned her key and began to leave, telling her that he was not asking for more than he deserved for his efforts. She admitted that she liked his personality and told him to come to her if he needed any help. A few days later, Xenos noticed that Lily was feeling resentful, and when he asked her why, she told him that she was upset that the 3 slum leaders kept visiting them even though they weren't sick. Xenos thought that they might be bored, but he was surprised when Carmilla appeared behind him to tell him that the reason was probably that they had fallen in love with him. He didn't care what she said, and told her that he was just an unlicensed healer with nothing special about him. She said that she had discovered this after observing the way they looked at him. She said sarcastically that it was only a matter of time before the 3 factions started a war over him, while Lily felt frustrated because she was just a child and not as attractive as them, and there was nothing she could do about it. At noon, Xenos was surprised by their arrival and told him that each of them intended to wage war against the other factions, and invited him to join their faction. Xenos felt trapped because he was indirectly involved in the matter, while Carmilla continued to pressure him, saying that the town would suffer heavy losses in lives because of him. When the time for battle came, the 3 factions gathered in the arena, and the 3 leaders prepared to tear each other apart. But they were soon surprised by the presence of Xenos and Lily, who told them that he had not come to stop the fight, knowing full well the grudges they harbored against each other, and asked them to fight until they satisfied their pent-up desires. They were satisfied with his approval and decided to fight to the death, with the winner being the one who left the arena alive. Zofia attacked Linga, but she managed to dodge her in time. Then Loe intervened to surprise her from behind, but she was aware of her movements. The 3 continued to fight each other until a major war broke out between their followers from the 3 factions. The battle continued until sunset, when they were all surprised to find that they were still standing and none of them had fallen. Even the leaders realized the same thing. Xenos told them that he had not come to stop the fighting, but that did not mean he would intervene to heal them all, as they were his patients. The 3 realized how foolish they had been, because he had been working in secret all this time, while Linga was stunned that there was a healer capable of healing so many people at the same time. Then everyone realized that the fighting would never end this way and that they would continue to beat each other up. Xenos told them that he would continue to treat them as long as they fought and that he would receive a hefty fee for the more effort he put into treating them.
Yeah, boy.
The 3 leaders felt that it was just a joke and decided to stop fighting each other. After that, Lily was curious to know why he was going to all this trouble, so he told her that his teacher once told him that a 3rd-class healer is one who heals wounds, a 2nd-class healer is one who heals the whole person, while a 1st-class healer is one who can fix the world and make it a better place. He added that he still considered himself a third-class healer, but he wanted to improve conditions in poor neighborhoods somehow, and he didn't want to lose his clients over factional disputes. Lily realized that he wanted everyone to get along so that there would be fewer injuries and fewer patients. So she took his hand and told him she loved him. Then she was surprised that he was really going to get the money from them before leaving. He told her that treating so many people at once required a lot of effort, and that he would not do it for free, even though he was sure that Carmilla would be angry because there had been no loss of life. After several days, news spread that the conflict between the three factions in the slums had subsided, until it reached the Royal Knights. The commander summoned Deputy Krishna and tasked her with investigating the matter, as the calm in the slums was detrimental to the kingdom's hierarchy. They then thought that when the conflicts among the poor subsided, they would unite and pose a threat to the middle class and the aristocrats. The commander told her that a third party had intervened to resolve the conflict between the factions. Krishna could not comprehend the idea that someone was capable of controlling the three leaders, but she vowed to take charge of the matter and arrest the person who had caused the situation in the slums to stabilize. On the other hand, Xenos was suffering from cold symptoms and ended up surrounded by the three leaders who wanted to take excessive care of him. When Lily realized she had no chance against them, she decided to go make tea. He told them not to overreact, that it was just a sneeze, and asked them to be quiet so he could treat Zond. Then Zofia told him that she had been injured yesterday after clashing with one of the royal knights. Xenos noticed that they had suffered similar injuries in the past and told him that she had suffered her first injury when she tried to sneak into the palace of a nobleman, while Zond told him that his arm had been blown off by a bullet from a crazy woman nicknamed Iron Flower, who was the deputy of the royal knights. Carmilla warned him sarcastically not to try to attract her attention as he had done with the others, lest the situation become dangerous. He thought that was impossible, as there was no reason for the royal knights to care about a useless secret healer like him. After that, Lily prepared lunch for them all, and they sat down to eat together, while Carmilla decided to go up to her room upstairs and told Xenos that he was probably the only person in the entire royal capital capable of uniting the leaders of the slums. Xenos hoped that this would not result in annoying visitors coming to his clinic one day. In the evening, Krishna arrived incognito in the slums and was surprised to see everyone getting along. She went to ask one of them what was going on, but he refused to talk to her because he had never seen her before, and the person responsible for stabilizing the situation did not want to stand out too much. She took out her gun and forced him to talk, but he insisted on his words and refused to tell her Xeno's identity because everyone owed him a lot. When he saw Zofia and Zon nearby, he called out to them loudly, forcing Krishna to flee quickly. Then she remembered the brothers as soon as she saw them, and that they were supposed to be suffering from incurable injuries. While she was running away, she suddenly stopped after realizing that she had lost her way. Meanwhile, Xenos was suffering from tremors, and then he found Krishna entering his clinic to ask him to guide her back to the slums. Lily joined them, and when she asked him if she was a new patient, Krishna realized that he was the person she was looking for. She pointed her gun at him and told him that she owed him a debt of gratitude, even if it was just a coincidence. Then she fired a gas bullet directly at him, shocking Lily. It turned out that Krishna was investigating the recent disappearances of children and thought that Xenos had kidnapped Lily and was forcing her to live with him and exploit her. She expressed her admiration for his idea of setting up headquarters in an abandoned neighborhood so that no one would discover him. Lily told her that he had not kidnapped her but had saved her, and that she had been too quick to judge him. Krishna realized that she had made a mistake by firing a bullet intended to capture suspects without resistance, and that he might be in a coma for hours, but she was soon surprised when he spoke to her to tell her that she lacked accuracy in aiming her weapons.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Krishna apologized for rushing to judgment, but he was not upset about it and told her that he had used a little of his defensive magic to counter her. She couldn't comprehend this, as her bullets were too powerful to be countered by ordinary defensive magic. She approached him and found that he was indeed unharmed, and she realized that many unbelievable things had happened that day. She wondered if he was a famous wizard who had devoted himself to mastering defensive magic. When he denied it, she warned him that no one could deceive her keen insight into others. When she told him her name and what she did, he realized that she did not belong to the slums. Then she surprised him by offering to share her investigations with him. Xenos had no choice but to put up a warning sign above the clinic so that the leaders would not approach the place for the time being. Then he sat down to talk to Krishna, who told him that she had been assigned a secret mission to arrest someone. He was surprised that she told him something so secret so easily, but she wanted to convince him to cooperate with her, even if it meant sharing some details with him. When he told her that he had no intention of cooperating with her, she told him that it was the duty of every citizen living in the kingdom. He wanted to know the identity of the person she was looking for, and was shocked to learn that she was actually looking for him, the person who had ended the conflict between the three factions in the slums. He felt angry when he saw Carmilla standing behind her, trying to stifle her laughter. Krishna added that she had failed to obtain any information about this person from the subhumans, which made her realize that he was skilled at controlling those around him and might be a servant of demons. She told him that this person might not want to draw attention to himself, and suggested that she leave him alone. Krishna suspected that he might know the mediator, which confused him, and he told her that he was just following his intuition. She told him that this person could pose a threat to the entire kingdom over time and must be deterred. Lily told her that he was someone who didn't like to see people suffer, despite his obsession with money. When Krishna asked her if she knew the broker, she quickly caught herself and denied it. Then Xenos told her that he would show her the way back to the living, but she felt that he wanted her to leave for some reason. She decided to leave quietly, and as she was leaving, her eyes fell on his bed. He told her it was an extra bed he wanted to get rid of, and he ended up giving it to her after she asked him to let her use it and stay there to be close to the poor neighborhoods. She would pay him for her stay. After that, Lily served her tea, feeling resentful, then approached Xenos and asked him to stroke her head as usual.
What do you mean by that?
He was surprised by her behavior, but Carmilla told him that she was jealous of Krishna and wanted to outdo her in some way. Xenos ended up receiving excessive attention from Lily, while Krishna did not care about it, which made her feel resentful. However, as time passed, she fell asleep, and he had to carry her to her bed. When he returned to Krishna, she asked him about Lily and wanted to know about the slave traders who had captured her, but he had no idea who they were. She realized that poor neighborhoods had become a hotbed for child trafficking. When she asked him about his identity again, he denied that he was just a professional magician who had mastered the art of defensive magic. She told him that it was impossible for ordinary healers to perform arm transplants, and that he must be a saint or someone from the elite. When she told him what had happened between her and Zofia, he realized that she was the one who had caused her injury, and he wanted to know why she felt so threatened by the slums. She replied that someone had caused her mother's death. Krishna began to tell him that her mother was a kind woman who used to visit the slums every day to feed the hungry, and one day she returned to them as a corpse, and it turned out that someone had killed her in order to get her wedding ring. Since then, Krishna has felt anger at her mother's tragic end, despite saving many of them, and decided to become an invincible heroine capable of bringing justice to the criminals of the slums so that no one else would suffer the same fate. Since that day, she has been unable to smile, which has led people to nickname her the Iron Flower. The next day, Krishna left to begin her investigations, and after she left, Carmilla told him that her story was not strange compared to the ups and downs she had witnessed in human life over the course of 300 years. After a while, Zofia came to receive the necessary treatment from him. She then told him that one of her men had told her about the knight who was investigating him. Before she could finish her sentence, they were all surprised by Krishna's quick return after she had lost her way again. As soon as they saw each other, they pointed their weapons at each other. Xenos tried to find a suitable excuse to justify the situation, but Lily beat him to it by telling her that Zofia had also lost her way and ended up here. Krishna found that it seemed somewhat logical and guessed that the mediator was the one who helped her recover from her arm injury and that he was planning to rally criminals from the slums to his side in order to eliminate any threat to innocent people. Zofia scoffed at her and told her that criminals were everywhere, especially after hearing that the knights were investigating a child trafficking case and that the kidnappings were being run by one of the nobles. Krishna couldn't comprehend what she was saying and told her that the kidnappings were centered here. Zofia said that the poor neighborhoods were just a front and that the person responsible was using his followers to divert suspicion away from himself. When she asked her about the identity of the person in charge, she told her that it was someone named Calendar. Krishna felt that this was a false claim, as this person was a do-gooder who sought to educate and help orphans all the time. Zofia scoffed at her and told her that her superficial view of others was what made her so easily deceived, unlike the mediator who had not passed judgment on them. She added that all the mediator had done was save their lives when they needed it, and that he might be willing to save her too if she were in danger, because he was not like her. At that moment, Xenos stood directly in front of Krishna and decided to confess everything to her, telling her that he was the mediator she was looking for. Krishna did not believe him, knowing that the mediator was skilled in healing magic, while he was skilled in defensive magic, and it was impossible to be skilled in both. He told her that he was not skilled in both, but he could use part of both in certain ways, as the two types were similar in function. Krishna was not sure if he was the mediator or not, but she decided to start looking for another place to work from since he had taken the side of the demi-humans. After she left, Lily found that she was heading in the opposite direction of the living. Krishna then went to visit Calendar and asked him about the thieves who had recently begun to appear in the area. He told her about the gang of lizard men, so she asked him to be more careful about his safety in the coming period. She then told him that she would now conduct a security assessment of his palace by means of a surprise inspection. Contrary to expectations, Calendar did not object. After he took her on a tour of the palace, she felt that his palace was free of anything suspicious, and that her presence there was a waste of time. She then asked him if she could use the bathroom before leaving. On her way there, she was puzzled by the fact that he had a large number of guards, and that the back entrance had many more than the front entrance. On her way, she noticed something that looked like a well, so she decided to go down to take a look around. She was shocked to see a group of children tied up inside a cage, and that the well was nothing more than a large dungeon for them. She approached them and told them she would free them, but she quickly ended up falling to the ground after Calendar shot her with a magic bullet from the gun she had left at the front gate. He then expressed his dissatisfaction with Farah's interference in the affairs of nobles like him, and told her that her job was to remain silent and keep the public under control. Krishna felt that she was about to die and remembered her mother, apologizing to her for failing to become a heroine. But before Calendar could finish her off, he was surprised to see Zofia standing behind him with Xenos, who described her as reckless and told her that this would cost her dearly because he would consider his presence here as a house call to one of his patients. Calendar was furious that they had broken into his house and decided to get rid of Zofia, considering her to be one of the thieves from the slums, and that no one would care if she died. But Xenos used his defensive magic to dodge his shots and kept approaching him until he thought about running away, but ended up falling to the ground and dropping his gun. Xenos picked it up and pointed it at him, leaving him with no choice but to beg him and tell him that he was willing to do whatever he wanted. Xenos thought that he had no grudge against him since they had just met, and that the only thing that bothered him was that he had tried to shoot him. Calendar apologized to him, but he did not accept his apology. He realized that he should also apologize to Krishna and admitted that he was wrong when he decided to shoot them. Despite this, Xenos approached him, put the muzzle of the gun directly over his head, and told him that there was someone else he should apologize to and that he would take his life if he did not find out for himself. When Calendar was unable to respond, he fired a loud shot at him, tearing his clothes and sending him flying. It turned out that Xenos wanted him to apologize to his victims, who were his future patients. Krishna thought he had caused his death, but Xenos told her that he was still alive. When she felt she was about to die and asked him to inform the royal knights of what had happened, he told her that this was troublesome and that she would have to do it herself after he healed her. Krishna was surprised when she saw him use his powers to heal her arm and called him a hero. He told her that he was not that important and that he was just a secret healer working in the shadows. She realized that he was being honest when he revealed his identity to her. After healing her arm, he told her that she was the real hero in everyone's eyes, as she had taken the initiative and discovered the truth herself. She gained confidence and told the children that she would save them. Then she thought that she had always believed her mother to be a pitiful victim, but in the end, she was a hero in someone's eyes. She began to cry and told him that she was her hero in the evening. Zofia brought her men to help the children out of the well, and when she was about to leave with Xenos before the knights arrived, Krishna turned to him to ask him why he had saved her. He replied that it was like paying unpaid bills as she had not paid for her stay with him, and he would not allow her to die before he got his wages and her medical fees. He was surprised to see her smile for the first time in a long time. A few days later, Xenos was shopping with Lily, and when he passed a certain place, he remembered sitting there alone in the past and finding Aston approaching him to convince him to join his band after realizing that he was homeless. He told him that people from poor neighborhoods couldn't become adventurers, but Aston insisted on recruiting him, and when he asked him what he was good at and found that he was only good at healing magic, he almost burst out laughing, but told him that he didn't expect much from him in terms of strength and that he wanted someone to be his servant. After that, Aston took the lead in fighting monsters, while Xenos took care of healing his wounds. Over time, Aston felt that Xenos was useless, just a burden on his shoulders, so he decided to kick him out of the group and give him appropriate compensation for someone like him. In the present, Aston and his team went to explore a rather distant labyrinth in order to win the favor of one of the 7 great nobles. They were not 100% prepared to carry out the mission, but they ventured into the labyrinth anyway and encountered a group of wild monsters on their way. When Aston attacked them, he was burned on his arm, so Andres tried to support support him with a magic attack spell, but he couldn't prepare it in time, so he shouted at Guile to use his protection spell on him. Guile was confused and told him that the spell didn't work even though he had already cast it. Aston felt that all his companions were useless and began to think about expelling them. Then he found that he had no choice but to retreat. When they returned, he began to scold them, and Andres told him that he hadn't done anything noteworthy either. Guile then realized that Xenos was the one responsible for the success of their missions as adventurers, because he had been treating them continuously, but Aston refused to acknowledge the truth and thought about hiring another healer who was higher in rank than him. 10 days later, he recruited a healer named Uman and returned with his companions to the labyrinth. He told her to prove that she was worthy of joining his team, and she told him not to lower his expectations, as she was used to healing people in the royal capital and just happened to have an adventure license. She added that the reason she joined them was because she wanted to know how they managed to come out of their battles without a single scratch, and she wondered why they needed the support of a mediocre healer like her. He felt confused before telling her that they were going through several circumstances. Guile then asked her about the condition of his friend Yuma, who had been injured in the previous mission. She told him that he would survive but might not be able to work as an adventurer again. Aston realized that he had not been up to the team's standards from the beginning, and did not care about him. He then told her that they were about to go in to kill the fire foxes inside, as the mission required them to obtain fox fur and present it to Lord Fennel to give to his daughter. When they entered the maze, they were surprised to find that the foxes had set a trap for them this time. He immediately attacked them and countered their fiery attacks, but unfortunately, Andres was severely burned and became unable to continue fighting, while Aston felt angry that he couldn't hit any foxes and began to feel heavy. Human tried her best to treat Andres's injury, and when Aston realized that their situation was difficult, he decided to withdraw again, this time blaming Guile's useless defense. Then he found Human telling him that Andres needed to go to the hospital because her treatment alone was not enough to heal him completely. Aston refused to take him to the hospital and ordered her to take care of his treatment herself. She told him that even the most skilled healers would not be able to cure him under these circumstances, as the only ones capable of doing so were the elite and the saints. Aston then realized that he had lost an important member of his team after firing Xenos, and that they had suffered devastating losses in every battle since his departure. Despite this, his mind refused to believe that a scumbag like him was the most important member of the team, and he convinced himself that he was just overthinking things. After that, Aston received a message from Fennel expressing his dissatisfaction with his useless team and ordering them to leave and never cross his path again. Aston begged one of his followers to let him speak to him directly, but he refused categorically and told them that his daughter's birthday had already passed. He added that the Lord's disappointment was not only due to their failure to hunt foxes, but also because they did not admit that the task was beyond their capabilities and ultimately accepted it. Aston thought that no one would refuse an opportunity to get close to a nobleman. He then tried to make excuses to save face and told his followers that there was a traitor among them, Xenos, who had hindered their progress. He then caught himself, having forgotten that he did not want to mention his name so that no one would know that someone from the slums was a member of his team. He simply begged Fennel to give him another chance. When his subordinate asked him what his ramshackle team could do, he promised to recruit new members. Upon returning to his team's headquarters, Aston decided to bring Xenos back, believing that he would be eager to rejoin the team. The next day he went to the slums with Guile to look for him, then decided to hire the 3 leaders to help them find him quickly. When they went to Zofia, she told them she was busy because she was going to the doctor that day. He told her that he just wanted to find Xenos' current whereabouts, as he was supposed to have arrived in the slums 2 months ago. Zofia then realized that they were the band of fools who had kicked the healer out of their band, and she couldn't help but laugh out loud. Aston felt angry at her mockery of them and almost attacked her, but found himself surrounded by her men. Zofia then told him that Xenos had other things to do than get involved in his team's trivialities. When he realized how powerful she was, Aston decided to leave and not waste his time with her. He then decided to go to Linga, who mocked him as soon as she realized that he was the one who had expelled Xenos from his team. She told them that he was too noble and refined to be associated with insects like them and advised them to turn back. He felt angry, and then he was surprised by Linga's quick movement as she asked him if he wanted to fight. He ended up leaving her fort without obtaining any useful information, and his only hope was that Lowy would agree to cooperate with them, but she refused after learning that he was the one who had expelled him from his band. Before he left, she warned him that she would not sit idly by if she learned that he was trying to harass Xenos. Aston couldn't believe that the 3 leaders supported Xenos and stood by his side. He thought that maybe the names were similar and that they meant another Xenos. Then Guile's eyes fell on him as he wandered around with Lily. When they went to him, Xenos was surprised to see them. He asked asked them why they had come here, and when Guile asked him to guess, he told him he wasn't interested and continued on his way. Austin stopped him and told him that he had come here looking for him to bring him back to the band. But he was shocked when Xenos rejected his offer without thinking. When he asked him why, Xenos told him that they treated him badly and that he received almost no pay after each mission, which made it not worth it for him. However, he said he would not mind accompanying them on one mission if circumstances allowed, in exchange for 50,000 won for each healing spell he used and 1 million won if the injuries were critical. Aston was surprised by the price offered and told him not to be conceited, as he was just a lowly vagrant during their conversation. He found that he was widely popular among everyone because of his skills. Xenos then decided to continue on his way with Lily and not waste any more time talking to Aston. Aston was furious that he refused to return to the band, even though he was the one who offered it to him, and told him that he was the one who brought him into the band in the first place, and gave him a place to belong. Xenos apologized to him and told him that it was too late to return to the band, then left quietly. Aston had no choice but to attack him from behind, but he ended up falling to the ground after Krishna fired a loud shot at him. Xenos was surprised to see her there, and she told him that she had come to see him but had lost her way as usual. Aston was surprised that he had the support of the deputy of the Royal Knights, who treated him with excessive familiarity. When she told him that she would take him to the station on charges of assaulting a civilian, he fled after pinning the blame on Guile. After that, Xenos met with the three leaders, who told him what had happened between them and Aston and that each of them had instructed their followers to watch him, but they quickly lost track of them, so Lily thought that they might have returned to where they came from. Zofia hoped that they had indeed left and had not joined the Shadow Guild, a guild known for carrying out forbidden tasks and avoiding any teams that messed with them. Xenos understood their concern that Aston would go to them and hire them to get to him, but he told them that hiring people like them required a lot of money. However, Zofia remembered that she had recently heard about someone who was willing to accept missions with special conditions without compensation, nicknamed the Guide. After that, Xenos was unable to sleep, and Lily noticed this, so she made him some tea. Then she surprised him by standing behind him and patting him on the head as he did to her, but she soon ended up falling asleep on his shoulder, so he put her in her bed and returned to sit alone. Then Carmilla joined him after noticing his insomnia and asked him if the reason was his meeting with his old band. He told her that he had forgotten about them, but after remembering how they had treated him, he felt regret for not kicking them out as soon as he saw them. Carmilla then asked him about learning magic at a young age, and he told her that it started when he was trying to revive a corpse and learned healing implicitly. He did not know at the time that he was trying to practice forbidden magic, which caused his teacher to beat him. Carmilla remembered that when she was alive 300 years ago, during the war between humans and demons, there was something known as artificial life through the use of golem magic, and she told him that this was one of the lost arts of demonic magic. She added that a magic stone was used as a nucleus with certain ingredients added to make it. While they were talking, they heard a sudden commotion, so Carmilla went out to take a look and was shocked to see many golems causing fires in the slums. Aston ended up taking the path of shadows and meeting the person known as the Guide, who decided to help him take revenge on Xenos and all his minions after finding his motives for revenge logical and deciding to use a magic stone that he had been testing for a long time. After that, the golems that spread throughout the slums caused massive chaos and suffered huge losses in infrastructure. When Xenos and Carmilla arrived there, they wondered how the golems got to the slums, and then the three leaders joined them, and Linga told them that many of her men had been harmed. Xenos told them that they were about to face an ancient artificial being whose origin was unknown. Loey told him that one of her followers had seen it coming from somewhere deep in the slums, so he guessed that its origin might be the Shadow Guild, but he vowed to make whoever was behind the incident pay. He then asked the three leaders to gather the injured in one place. He then found that the golem had high offensive capabilities but lacked speed. On the other side, the Guide watched what was happening from a distance, excited to see Xenos' expression after losing his companions one by one. After that, Xenos used his healing ability on a large scale to treat all the injured at the same time and ordered them to leave the place as soon as they were able to move. While he was working, Carmilla noticed his distress, and he told her that he was still awake late at night and had to treat hundreds of injured people without any guarantee that he would be compensated for his hard work. He was also worried about Lily, who was still asleep at home. The Guide was surprised to see how powerful Xenos was in treating the injured and thought that he might surpass the elite. He became excited to find out how he would be able to stop the golem and save everyone. As time passed, Xenos finished treating everyone and began to think about how to deal with the golem and whether it would return to where it came from when it felt bored. Carmilla told him that the golem would not stop unless it completed what its master had ordered it to do, and she guessed that it had been tasked with completely destroying the slums. Xenos felt frustrated because it would not stop on its own, while Carmilla kept thinking about how someone had obtained a pure magic stone and managed to create a golem. She added that the stones were mainly found in the far south, where the palace of the Demon King had once stood. Xenos decided not to waste time thinking, and to go and destroy the golem. The three leaders decided to accompany him. When Carmilla asked how to destroy it, she told him that he had to destroy the magic stone that formed its core. He thought that he would not be able to sell the stone if he destroyed it, but he prioritized saving everyone. Then the leaders attacked him all at once, while Xenos supported them with his magical abilities. During the fight, Xenos remembered that he had to stay close to them so that he could use his magic on them. The golem continued to attack them and regenerate its body whenever it was damaged, until Xenos realized that it needed a certain amount of time to regenerate itself. So he asked the girls to attack both of its legs at the same time. After they followed his instructions, they were surprised to see that the golem was about to fall on a small child. Xenos rushed towards it but was unable to reach it in time. However, luck was on the child's side, as she was unharmed after the golem fell on the neighboring building. On the other hand, the guide was impressed with Xenos' abilities and decided it was time to start using the golem's full power. When Xenos examined the golem, he was surprised to feel a living being inside it, and the first thing that came to his mind was that Aston was controlling the golem. It turned out that the guide had fused the magic stone with Aston to create life inside it, as the stone lacked many things to produce a new nucleus, and he was able to convince Aston to fuse the stone inside him because he would help him achieve his revenge. Then he became excited to see what Xenos would do after he was forced to get rid of the person he had previously rescued from the slums to destroy the stone. Xenos then asked his companions to leave and told them that he would finish the job himself. Then he remembered what his teacher had told him before, that healers should not engage in combat so that they can focus on supporting their companions. Then he found Carmilla on her way home before sunrise, and told her that he would follow her in a few minutes. Then he started talking to Aston and told him that it was strange that someone as annoying and selfish as him would try to save a child when he first met him. But he remembered what Guile had told him before, that the reason for his obsession with money and power was that his younger sister had died because he couldn't afford her treatment, and he wondered if he had mentioned it to him when he was little. So he decided to save him. When he saw the golem approaching him and trying to catch him, he realized that Aston was still angry because he had found a new place to belong after he had kicked him out, and he was certain that he was now the only homeless person left. The golem began to attack him, so he summoned his scalpel and tore off its arms, then aimed his attack directly at its heart. After destroying the golem, Aston appeared before him and told him that today would be the last time he would see his face, and that he would have to take his life in order to destroy the magic stone. Meanwhile, the guide was impressed that he did not hesitate to get rid of his former leader, then decided to return after feeling disappointed that the ending was not as exciting as he had expected. When he took another look, he was shocked by the fact that Xenos was destroying the magic stone inside Aston, and healing his body at the same time. The guide was stunned that Xenos was still focused on using healing magic after saving hundreds, and supporting his companions during the fight against the golem. He couldn't believe that anyone could do all of this at the same time. On the other hand, Xenos finished restoring Aston's body after getting rid of the magic stone and told him that life would be better without it, but he would not allow him to die before paying for the damage he had caused. In addition to treating him, he would also have to tell him who had helped him do all this. He added that even though he was just a useless nobody, he had done two good things for him. He had gotten him out of the slums and given him a retirement bonus, which he had used to save Lily, who had led him to open his own clinic and change his life for the better. Then Xenos destroyed the last piece of the magic stone and succeeded in saving Aston, who finally acknowledged his power and asked him if he had achieved his revenge by making him continue to live despite losing everything. He told him that he had not thought of it that way. Aston felt ashamed because he had lived his life exploiting others, only to end up being exploited himself, and he felt he deserved it. Xenos was surprised to see him bowing before him and apologizing for everything he had done in the past, so he asked him to raise his head and decided to punch him hard as punishment, telling him that the main reason he had spared his life was stay alive was to get the chance to kick his ass. After Xenos punched him, he felt satisfied and left quietly. At sunrise, Aston regained consciousness when he heard Krishna waking him up and calling him rude for causing all this trouble in one day. When he asked her about Xenos, she told him that she had met him on her way and that he had told her everything. She expressed her admiration for the destruction of this magnitude without anyone dying, which would make him indebted to him for the rest of his life. She then decided to arrest him on charges of assault and fleeing justice, in addition to several previous charges. She told him that Xenos had decided to take his sword and sell it to compensate for the damage he had caused. Aston realized that he had lost everything in the literal sense and returned to where he was born. Krishna gave him a gold coin and told him it was from Xenos, saying that this was his reward for his service and that he no longer wanted anything to do with him. He ended up crying like a child. Meanwhile, Xenos felt powerless and ended up continuing on his way, leaning on the 3 leaders who wanted to repay and take care of him, while the guide decided to return to the shadows again before his identity was revealed, confident that he would meet Xenos again someday.